nice track, babe.
You know, I promised myself I wasn't going to say all right. Cause
All right.
I feel like I say all right every time. But it happened.
Man.
It is what it is.
It's just how you are.
All right. So it is approximately...
It's after midnight. That's what
midnight.
I know. It's Saturday.
It's technically Saturday.
Oh,
we were going to
man.
record this after seeing the movie.
Shoot.
But it took a little while.
This always takes a while.
It does.
It's like,
So we just got back a little while ago from watching Creed 3. And I promised myself I was going to bring up stuff for Creed. So while I'm bringing that up, because I just want to bring up stuff to have on here. How was your day?
my day was great. At my job, we don't have to wear masks anymore. So
That's good. That's always good, yeah.
well, they're optional. Let me say that they're optional, but
Yeah.
that myself and some of my coworkers, excuse me, will probably still wear them in certain rooms.
Yeah.
Patient rooms. So.
I don't have to wear a mask at work either.
Alrighty.
All right, jumping in. So
Not in the mood for work at home jokes. Yeah.
This is her life. She loves it most of the time.
Don't forget that you work at home.
I know. So
If you
Creed
live.
3, we just got back from watching that. It stars Michael B. Jordan and the newcomer Jonathan. Well, I say newcomer, but he's been in a couple of different things, and he's done very well. He's actually
Man, he's so good.
he's quickly rising to become one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
And the things, I don't even know how to put it. He's just so, especially when he's playing like a tough guy, like in this movie, he's doing so good. But he, of course, he played in Lovecraft Country, which is a TV series. He's also King the Conqueror in the MCU.
Okay, that's what
He did. What was that movie he did a couple of years? He did Devotion that we just watched.
Man, that's good too. If y'all haven't seen Devotion,
Yes,
that's a
very
good
good.
one. If you like,
I think the first thing I really seen him in and paid attention to was a movie called The Harder They Fall, which was an all-black Western. It had Idris Elba in there, and it had a couple of Zazie Beetz was in there. Jonathan Majors, of course, just to name a few. And that came out in 2021, and that was... Who was that? Okay, I was thinking that was directed by the same people, but it's not. But Creed 3, it's directed by Ryan Coogler, who is the director for...
Coogler.
Yeah, I know he directed the first Black Panther movie. I think he came back. Yeah, he came back and did the second one. And of course we have Michael B. Jordan, which I don't know if you know this. So Ryan Coogler was a writer on this. He wasn't a director. He was a director on Black Panther. This was Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. So this is the first movie he's ever directed.
Michael B. Jordan?
Yes, he directed this entire movie. So
wow.
Yes, yeah. And
I can see that.
I think he did really well for his first movie directing. I think it was
I
great.
agree.
A little bit of backstory on the movie. I'm not going to even read the synopsis off of IMDb this time, just because it's short and I could probably summarize a little bit better. Essentially, at this point in Adonis's life, he's been retired for 3 years.
Adonis.
He's done about everything that he kind of feels like he can do.
Yep.
He's ready to just be a dad. You know, he's older in the movie. I think he plays his real life age, which is 36. So in the boxing world, in sports world, I mean that's on the upper side.
Yeah.
So he's ready to be retired. His wife is, she's a producer, so she's not performing live anymore because of her hearing, which we've seen throughout the whole trilogy kind of come. So she's more writing for other artists and producing them. And they have their daughter, who I think is about 6 in this movie.
So,
we've we're
Amara.
we're like 6-7 years from the second movie.
She
here.
is deaf. Their daughter.
Yeah, she's completely deaf.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So
not cool that she's deaf, but
it's cool to have that kind
sign
of
language.
And it's funny you talk about that, and I want to get into a little bit of that here in a little bit, because there's some things I've watched, some rumors, speculation more than anything that goes with her.
Good old speculations.
So basically, he's retired. He's literally dressing up in lizard costumes and playing Tea Party with his daughter, which is really cool. It's a funny little scene. So life's going pretty good for him. He's not exactly training, but he's kind of he's managing, I guess you would say, for fighters, and he has a whole fight
club gym.
Well, he doesn't. It's his dad's gym, but he's helping out with it, and he's kind of the face of it in a lot of ways. Right. And then one day, he leaves the gym and out sitting on the.
Comes to town.
Yeah, his old buddy that he used to, his childhood friend, guy that got in trouble. The trailer shows a good bit of this. The way that the trailer went with it, I thought it was kind of going to go a little bit more the cliche way. I'm really glad it didn't go the cliche way. So yeah, there's a little bit of backstory on that. This movie, I really liked it. I don't know how you felt about it.
I liked it. I'm a sucker for a good sports training.
Yeah.
Montage, is that the correct word?
Yeah, sports movie.
I'm a sucker for those, and I loved the
Rockies.
Rockies. Yeah, I loved the Rockies. Yeah, training for the Rockies, and then there's the training montage in this one, and I thought it. I was like,
and
let's go.
I don't know about you. I'm a huge Sylvester Stallone fan, and I've been. I can't say. I don't know that I've watched every Rocky movie. But I know that I've watched. I've watched
up till 4. I know because Forrest Drago, and that's Drago's the good one.
Yeah, that's one of the really good ones. My favorite, and this may be just because of nostalgia, but I actually talked about it while wasn't talking in the movie, but I did kind of have a comment on it, but. One of my favorite Rocky movies is Rocky Balboa. It's the one where he's older and he's he owns a restaurant. It's the last Rocky movie, which has one of my favorite quotes in it of all time about, life's not about, how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and get back up.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Right.
And he has like a little quote that he says to his fighter at one point in this movie, and I was like, you could have had like a little throwback there. But yeah, I've always liked all of the Rocky movies. Yeah. I've liked every single Creed movie. I haven't. I don't really have a lot of bad things to say. I have a couple of critiques in this one, but nothing. It's a great movie, I think. One of the critiques, and this one's not really a critique, but if we're gonna talk about Creed 3, we have to kind of address the elephant in the room, and that's Rocky himself. Because going into this, everybody knew that Rocky wasn't going to be in it. And there was, of course, rumors of they're killing him off, or, this, that, and the other, or maybe they're having him as just a phone call. So the way they went about it was they really didn't do anything. They mentioned him in the past tense more than anything. They referenced his fight with
Apollo. Yeah.
That
he
got
helped Apollo.
Yeah, that
or Apollo helped Rocky.
Yeah, that got like addressed, or not really addressed, but that got referenced a few times. Yeah. Other than that, we don't really know where Rocky's at. They made it pretty clear this isn't part of Rocky's story. This is Creed, Adonis's story.
It's set in L.A. and they're not even in.
Yeah. So, me being a Rocky fan, me being a Sylvester Stallone fan, knowing some of the drama behind that, they could have handled it worse. I'll be honest. I think doing nothing is a little bit of a cop out, but I would rather them do nothing than kill him off. I think doing it this way, it leaves things kind of open-ended.
I think the training montage was a little, paid, homage to Rocky.
He's
running.
They definitely, it's still part of the
Rocky. He
didn't
run on the beach or anything.
No, it's still part of the Rocky franchise, so they've got to throw it back a little bit.
And they played one of the Rocky songs at the.
Yes, but I'm talking about actually having something to do with Sylvester Stallone.
But I'm just there's little.
I will say I felt like they kind of left it open to if things can, at least this is how it felt, if things could be resolved between the people that own the Rocky franchise now and Sylvester Stallone. So hopefully we've not seen the last of Rocky. He's not dead that we know of. The few things that and I don't think we said this. This is a spoiler-free review. So we're not going to spoil it. It literally just came out tonight. The things I didn't like about it were nitpicks. The first one being during the actual fight with Damien, Jonathan Major's character. They kind of do like an artsy way of showing you that these fighters are like, this is completely between them. They're not paying attention to the crowd.
You didn't like that?
I thought it was a little. I thought it went on a little too long, and I thought the way they went about it was a little cartoonish.
Yeah,
I didn't. It took me out of the movie for a second, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
I thought it was pretty cool. The one section of it I didn't like, but I don't know if I won't say anything. But the one part of that I didn't like, but I thought it was pretty cool.
I think they've shown similar things to that in other fighting movies,
right?
And I think they've done it better by like blurring the crowd and like toning out the crowd, and like you'll have like the crowd blurred out, and then it'll just be like they'll bring the crowd noises down real low, and yet you really feel like it's just between the. I think that would have been definitely a little bit more subtle than what they did.
Right. Well, I don't think this is a spoiler, but let's just tell them what we're talking about, because that's not. I
don't even know how to explain. It's like the crowd disappears.
Yeah, and if you ask me, it's kind of like for a second. So it's kind of like if you're like watching like a movie or like something, and
which we were
like. It's like kind of like one of those scenes where like they were like, I think of like Harry Potter, the one Harry Potter movie where they're walking, like he's walking with Dumbledore. Is it Dumbledore?
Yeah, it's Dumbledore.
And he's like walking, I forgot what it is, but it's just so in Creed, it's just the two of them in the ring, and it's like white space. It's like white, grayish at first, and then it turns like black and like green, and
it's really, it's not a cartoon. They don't turn it
animated.
A jail
cell appears.
Yeah,
I thought it was. I thought it was cool.
The jail cell. I get what they're going for.
That's the one I didn't like.
They're trying to make it seem as though with this fight, it's these two. It's between these two. They're doing it in front of a crowd, but it's really. It's a brother versus brother battle. That's what it really is.
But this
is how they're working through it.
Exactly.
The jail cell references Adonis feeling guilty about his friend / brother going to jail for something that he feels like he probably should have went to jail too.
Put him there. Yeah.
He feels like it's his fault. So I get the references. I just think with every other visual that they had, I think that for me was weak. The way that they shot the boxing, I really liked the way that the camera movement. It reminded me of playing if you've ever played one of the Fight Night games or even some of the UFC games, the way that it moved kind of reminds you of like an instant replay. But you're watching it.
My favorite parts was like when they would freeze.
Yeah.
Like when they would show like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
And he could see like his next move. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and they really like you really felt like, you know,
like you were the box, like you were Creed.
Yeah, you felt like that, and you felt like
you were
like they weren't just glossing over the fight, like they were really highlighting things and highlighting, kind of letting you get into the fight science of it all.
You feel like you punched.
So I really liked that, and there was a lot of things, a lot of visuals in this movie, like when Jonathan Majors. So, we shot that on a Friday. This is Monday. This is one of my edit days. And since we recorded that, I've seen some like interviews and stuff with Michael B. Jordan. Turns out it was not video game influence. It's actually more anime influence. The scene that I critique in this, I still think is a little too cartoony. But I do appreciate the effort because I love anime. And that was the only, like, every other fight scene in here I absolutely love. It's just that one part that was a little, could have toned that down a little bit and it'd been great. But he talks about some of the fight scenes and like the inspiration behind it. Absolutely awesome. Go check those out. Yeah, I'm going to get back to editing now. Bye. When Jonathan Majors' character, the first fight that we see when he fights Adonis's champion.
Right.
The way the opponent comes out, like the
oh yeah,
way that they come out, especially the heavyweight champ at that time, the one that Jonathan Majors fights, that was a really cool come out. Even Jonathan Majors, his come out was really cool. You know, it was very like solitary. Like you're like, this dude's all on his own.
Alone,
and, yeah. The music was,
everybody's booing him. Everybody hates him.
The music's all. I feel like the music's always good in Creed. I feel like that's always a big character. Like, music has always played a big part in the Rockies, but it's usually the Rocky theme song that plays a part. You know, so it gets a little repetitive. It's a boxing movie, but the way that the Creed movies have done it, because of what's her name, Tessa Thompson, because of her character, her being a musician,
so good.
and yeah, she's great in this role. But because of her music and stuff, it really leads into that. And you know, they show her you know, in her studio, and she's writing music for a singer, and like the way that they kind of weave that in there, I really like that. So yeah, that one scene in the fight, I didn't care for that. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but I thought that it for what it was adding, I also felt like it was taking away from it.
Okay. That's fair.
The only other thing that I really didn't care for in this movie was kind of the way that they did Jonathan Majors' story. We get a lot, you know, we get some flashback, and I'm fine. Flashbacks don't bother me. The young guys that played young Adonis and young Damien.
Where is that guy? I've seen that young Damien before. What is he?
I'm not sure. The young Adonis, I felt like was spot on, but
yeah, very good at picking those.
The issues that I have with it is, we see a good amount of Jonathan Majors' character up until that title fight, the fight that he had with Adonis as champion. After that, because of the drama and the hostility, they split up, and you only see kind of little bits and pieces of Jonathan Majors. Like you only really have, like, you have a training montage and maybe one or two other scenes. And the way they wrapped up his story. So those kind of little things there, the middle section and his ending. I liked how they ended it with the two characters, but my issue was, I would have liked to see, and maybe I'm sure they're leaving it open. I'm sure this isn't the last time we've seen Jonathan Majors. He's such a popular actor right now that it'd be dumb not to bring him back in. So I just wish that they would have. I like the way that they didn't patch up their friendship, but they did at the same time. They left that kind of open. But I would like to see that come back. I don't feel like Jonathan Majors was such an evil character in this. He did some shady things, but I mean, he felt like he was wrong, and whether, you know, I don't agree with what he did, but there's been far worse done in movies, and characters come back from and redeem themselves.
Yeah.
So what did you think of this movie? Any nitpicks?
No, not like you, because I don't know how to nitpick a movie like you can.
Well, we can't come into every movie and be like, "Oh, I love everything about this." But so we got, I got to nitpick a little bit. But overall, I really, it's a solid 8 or 9. Like my nitpicks are, please don't not go see this movie because of my small nitpicks. Please go see this movie.
No, go see the movie for yourself. No, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Like I said, the training montage was probably one of my faves.
They're always good training montages in these movies. They did you're talking about paying homage. Yeah. It's funny because the last movie dealt with him fighting Drago's son.
Okay.
And they definitely paid homage to Rocky Drago. But I felt like with this one, the way he had to train, I felt like it kind of reminded me of going up against Drago because just the kind of severity of it. Of course,
he's going up against.
Of course, it's kind of, and they do this with a lot of stuff in these Creed movies, but there's a lot of they kind of repeat and reuse things from the Rocky movies, but the way that they do it, they do it in like contrast or do it in like reverse, and they kind of bring new life to it like that. Kind of like as an example, they talk about in this movie giving Jonathan Majors' character a chance because Apollo gave a chance to the underdog. He was Rocky. Yeah. So Creed is not the underdog in this movie. He's the big guy. So it's giving Jonathan Majors' character. So we're kind of siding with the big dog instead of the underdog this time. This also another way that kind of compares back to the Rocky movies. I don't remember which movie it was that Rocky was retired, but he was like retired. They had the big house. He had like a robot. That might have been it. Might have been 4.
Might have. Yeah.
But I think he was like in retirement, but he like came to help Apollo, and that's when Apollo. Yeah. So kind of
Porter Brady.
Yeah. So both of them coming out of retirement for this character, so that kind of thing. Anyway, I stole from you, so I'm gonna let you have back. But
no, it's fine. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. Michael B. Jordan is always good to look at and watch.
Easy now.
On the TV screen, he's not too shabby to look at.
It's funny you say that. And something I wanted to. It reminds me of something else, and I know I'm stealing a lot of the mic time here, but I always have a lot to say.
His jawline, man. His jawline's great.
Yeah. Something I thought was kind of cool and funny. When they bring in Jonathan Majors' character, it feels like.
I'll talk about how.
This is probably what I'm talking about.
Okay, go ahead, and then.
So
you're right. That's probably what you're going to
say. Not that I care to see a bunch of shirtless dudes, but. They show Jonathan Majors in long sleeve shirts up until the fight, like, and even right up until the point that he's about to fight, he's wearing
when he comes.
It's like a cutoff shirt.
When he comes into town, he's like in a,
he's like in 3 layers,
in a denim jacket and in a beanie, and I'm like,
well, and even when
he looks like something out of Shawshank Redemption.
He did just get out of prison. But I mean, for a good part of the movie, and he's like training. There's one point where Adonis brings him in as like a sparring partner. Yeah. In his gym to kind of give him some work, and he's like going to help him. And the entire time he's in there, he's in like a sweatshirt. Like they really hold off. And I get it, it's such a cool reveal because when they have him fight Adonis' champion, up until this point, everybody's like, they've called Jonathan Majors old. They're like, he's, there's no way he's going to be able to get in this fight and fight this guy. This guy's like younger. And even the fighter, when he's about to fight him, he calls him grandpa. And it's funny because they get in the ring and Adonis' champion is probably 4 inches shorter than him, if not 3-4 inches shorter than him, and the dude is not. Which not that fighting's about being ripped or anything like that, but it's funny because they take off Jonathan Majors' shirt, and he is huge.
His body definition is insane.
So, I didn't find this out in preparing for this, but I keep up with Jonathan Majors, because this is the second movie I've seen him in the past month. I've seen him in Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, which he was big in that, but he was, he's in a costume the entire time. Apparently, Jonathan Majors got jacked for it's like a Sundance film where he plays like a bodybuilder. So he got completely just jacked for that. Huh. And he stayed jacked. But it's so funny because he's in the ring and he takes off his shirt and he's just, he is a huge man. Like you just feel like he's going to hurt somebody. Like he feels like Kang the Conqueror, but in a boxing ring. That's really what I felt like. And the other dude just takes his shirt off and he just looks like they call him a heavyweight. And I'm like, this dude's a heavyweight.
No way.
He's going to get demolished, which he movie. So he did good against Jonathan Majors, but,
well, it's like
even Michael B. Jordan is built as he is smaller than Jonathan Majors.
Well, you and I kept watching the preview for it, and we're like, man, Jonathan Majors is huge in this movie. Yep. And so I mean he's pretty jacked in this movie, so it shows for sure.
So I'm trying to think of what else to going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, his daughter, who was deaf. They have like a side plot with her that's really cool. She's in like a special kind of school, like it's a school for all deaf kids basically. And they put her. Michael B. Jordan has a line where he talks about, I didn't think her going to a school like this that she would have this kind of problem. But we see her in class. There's just one scene of her in class. But there's this girl that comes over and takes her drawing. She draws like her dad.
Drawing.
She draws her dad knocking somebody out in the ring. And this other little girl, who's also deaf. They're all deaf in this class or in this school. This girl picks up her paper and rips it in half. And Adonis's daughter, shows the Dukes and punch her in the face.
Her.
And that's a recurring element throughout the whole movie. We see later on, we see his daughter watching his fights. Yeah. And Adonis catches her, and she's watching the fights in the gym. I'm not exactly. I don't remember how she got there, but she's actually at the Creed gym, and Adonis catches her, and. He's wanting to teach her how to fight, and of course Tessa Thompson's character is like, she needs conflict resolution, and Michael B. Jordan's like, yes, but she still needs to know how to defend herself. Right. But anyway, they lean into that, and Michael B. Jordan is showing her, well, first she's showing him what she already knows, and she ends up knowing, like, she has a jab, and he's like, that jab is perfect, which he's signing to her. But he, so he's training her like that. And at the end of the movie, after Adonis and Damien kind of talk and work through their issue there, which that's kind of the whole fight, was them fighting so that they could get to a talking point. Adonis knew that Damien wasn't going to listen until they fought it out. I wanted to get that out there. But anyway, after they've talked it out, Adonis comes out to the ring where Tessa Thompson's character and their daughter's character is, and she's like shadow boxing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And there's speculation that there's already been confirmed that there's going to be some spin-offs of this, more spin-offs, because this is already a spin-off, but there's going to be spin-offs from the Creed side of it. I think one of the rumors is Drago, which we can see because, he's in this movie. I won't tell you what he's doing in the movie, but he is in this movie. He has a couple of scenes. He's not in it a lot. He makes a little cameo, but you can kind of tell that they might be doing something like a side kind of thing with them. But another thing is some speculation that the daughter may be the next part. It could be a couple, it may be a couple more years because, she's only like 6 right now, but they could have a different actress come in or something. But that'd be really cool because it's a girl fighter to be the first girl fighter that we see in the Rocky franchise, and she's deaf. So seeing her overcome both of those, which in 2023, the girl boxing thing, I'm sure we'll still see some adversity with that, but not as much. It's way more normalized now than it would have been in the original Rocky age. But the challenge of her being deaf and fighting that way, that would definitely be interesting to see. So yeah, so I think we both agree it's a pretty good movie.
Oh yeah.
Where would you rank it in the trilogy?
Oh, I don't know.
I think the first is still the best.
If I'm probably, yeah.
And we only got like 50 seconds left, so.
Yeah, I always like the first one, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The first one's always the best.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I think I like the first one the best. The second and third one, I kind of tied for me. I really like both of them, but I may want to rewatch this one before I fully give that one.
Yep.
But yeah, all right. You guys have a good one.